everyone, it's Carla from Bound to Be Vintage. I'm really glad you stopped by today. And what I wanted to show you is a new tool I found on Temu that can be used to make book covers. They're calling it a book cover guide. Now I know some of you don't like spending your money with Temu, so if anyone else knows of another source for this tool, please let us know in the comments below. I'm sure people would appreciate it. So as I said, I picked this up on Temu. They're calling it a book cover guide with 5 different functions, and it did come with a little instruction booklet, which you don't always get with discounted products, so I was glad to see that. And what I'm going to do today is show you the book cover, talk a little bit about this, and then at the end I've attached a video of me actually making this book cover with the guide. It took me 28 minutes, but that video has been sped up, so it should be under 3 minutes for you, so you can see a real quick example of how this works. So the functions I did not use were for making a rounded book corner. But if you were going to cover a round corner cover with fabric or paper, this would help you. You would align this with your corner, and then this would show you where to cut to turn over your fabric or your paper to cover the corner. I was doing square corners, so I didn't use that. Now, they said to put your book cover in here for perfect alignment, and their paper seemed to be cut to the size it needed to be already. You'll see in the video that I tend to like to start bigger and then trim it down smaller. I just feel like if I go bigger, there's less room for error than if I cut it too exact. So I used this to line up with my book covers once they were glued down. I drew around it and then I cut. And I really like this nice uniform edge that it gave me. It just made it so easy to turn it over and know it was consistent. It doesn't matter that it looks all even in here because this will all be covered. If you've made a book like this, you know that none of this under part is going to show. But it was just nice having that consistent edge to turn over. I also used this to determine where to cut the fabric to make myself be able to miter the corners. And it just lined up as you'll see in the video. And then I used my rotary cutter and just cut across the guide. And again, you'll see all this in the video. And it just gave me very precise corners. They just cut right off. So that gave me nice corners to turn over. It gives you a pretty slim margin. And with this fabric, it was a bit of trouble, and I kind of anticipated that this is a heavier, more like upholstery weight fabric with a weave. So when you cut these fibers, they cut kind of short and they're quite stiff. So I've got a little bit of extra fuzz on these corners. I'm going to try to glue them down just a little bit. And then I'm planning on using corner protectors just to keep there from being any fraying or that showing. I think if this had been a softer, more pliable fabric, the corner allowance would have been just great. So I don't blame that on the tool at all. I think it's more my choice of fabric. And then I also use this part right here, this skinny little tail, to make sure that the placement of my book boards was consistent before I glued them down. And again, you'll see me doing it in the video on the top and the bottom, but I feel like they turned out really well. So I was quite pleased with this tool. There's one other function that I haven't gotten around to yet, but I'll show you what it could be used for. I saw a little video on the Temu site more recently when I went back to check the price. And by the way, this tool is under $6. I spent somewhere between $5 and $6. There are several different vendors, and the prices do change on Temu, so I'm not going to link anything. But it was under $6. And the other way it could be used is this will be a hidden spine. And if you're familiar with that, you know that that means that your signatures are sewn to fabric, sometimes with another layer attached to the fabric, like a chipboard or something. And then they're sewn to the fabric, and then they're glued onto your spine. So nothing shows on the front of your book cover. You're not sewing through the spine. You're sewing your signatures onto this fabric base and then gluing the fabric base into the spine. And then you tend to leave a little flap of fabric that comes over here. Some people put their inside book cover on and leave the fabric out. I'm going to cover this fabric. So this paper is actually going to be cut down to size and cover that up, and my fabric will be underneath. Just a single layer of this. I have it doubled over right now just to give me a neater edge to show you because I haven't cut it yet. Once I glue this in though, these flaps have to be glued, and you have to make sure that the fabric goes down in your book cover. This gap here, you've got to get that fabric glued down in there really well so your book cover will fold and the fabric won't prevent that. So a lot of people use a bone folder to press the fabric in, but on Temu they showed them using this tool. So you could use your tool and press it in like that. I don't know if you can see that indentation. So it's really quite handy. I'm pleased with it. I'll be using it again, and I hope you enjoy the video that shows my complete process. And I hope you'll subscribe for more content. Thanks. Have a good day.